Welcome, Ruben. I'm so excited to have you here on our Dunedin Stories podcast today. Thanks for joining us.
And Arkley?
Would you like to do an introduction to the community about who you are and perhaps what you're representing today? If you can put that in a box, which is probably a bit difficult.
Sure. Ko te tuatahi, e mihi ana ki a koe te rangatira, mō te mahi tautoko, mō te hāpori Ōtepoti. So first I want to say thanks. You're awesome, and all the great work you do for Dunedin. Like I said off camera, I couldn't do it. And you're amazing, and this is just another thing, that you'd add another thing. It's amazing. So I want to give you the shout outs for that. That's Ruben. Awesome.
That's very kind.
And I appreciate all you do. So who am I? Well, I guess poke āringa te maunga, o tamatea te awa Ngāti Whātua te iwi. On my dad's side, I come from Ngāti Whātua in Kaipara. And I've been fortunate enough to, even though I've lived down here, to travel up there all the time for all my life and be part of that community. And we're up there this weekend celebrating 200-year commemoration of a massive battle between called Tika Ranganui, a battle between Ngāpuhi and Ngāti Whātua. So it's close to my heart, even though I live in Dunedin. And then on my mum's side, I'm English, and my great-grandfather went to North East Valley School and died in the First World War. My grandfather went to Otago Boys, as I did, went to Otago Boys, and as both my boys have gone to Otago Boys. So I live in Dunedin. I love Dunedin. I'm a massive advocate for Dunedin, and so that's why I respect all the work you do, because you push Dunedin out there everywhere, and Paul and Firebrand and all you guys doing great work. So yeah, I love Dunedin, and
so your heart's kind of in two places, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was born in Dunedin though,
right?
So a big part of me is here, and I love Dunedin. And I can't see myself living in other places, to be fair.
Good. Did you try?
Yeah, we've lived all around. I mean, we've lived overseas. We've spent a decade in Auckland, and I've travelled around a lot. A decade in Auckland's a good test. Yeah. Auckland's a tough place to live compared to Dunedin, but, there's a lot of opportunities up there, so you kind of have to do stuff up there. Yeah. So off camera we talked about you being a bit of a starter, and how this entire podcast could just be about the different businesses that you've started and the lessons that you've had along the way. So let's start with, what was the getting out of school phase like for Ruben? What did you do in your years? I think my life was changed actually, because I was born here and then we moved up north. Right. Came back here when I was 11. And I went to Otago Boys. I was lucky to go to Otago Boys. Very lucky. It's a great school. Our boys there too. My cousins went to Ōtepoti and other schools up north, Māori schools, and they didn't get the same education that I did down here. And I was relatively smart at school, so I was streamed into smart classes. So I was good at sport, and I was good at a lot of things. I was good at singing, and I did all that stuff. So it was a great school for that, because it gave me all those opportunities. You were a well-rounded youngster. Yeah, I did lots of things. I loved everything. And so I was very fortunate to go to OBs. And I don't know if you know this, there's so many things done in my life, but I left Otago Boys and I was in the Air Force. Oh, wow. No, I did not. I joined the Air Force as a pilot. I know, crazy, eh? I was only 17 when I joined. Yeah, so I was in there for 2 years. You did your basic training and everything. Yeah, I got kicked out of training pilots, and then ended up becoming a supplier, and I was there for the rest of my time as a supplier. And that's when I realised, I want to use my brain. Wow. I don't want to... So you can fly planes right now? No, I can't. No. I never went solo, so I didn't really go anywhere with it. But I was more just too young, and didn't really know what I wanted. But I just managed to do their selection and pass everything. That was kind of the thing. I knew I didn't want to do something. Well, I didn't know what I wanted to do, to be fair. And my mate said, "Why don't you join the Air Force?" And I just popped in down on Princess Street one day, and before I knew it, I'd passed all the tests.
We're just kind of shaping our young boy to consider that as a career pathway. He's only 15, but yeah, the Air Force seems to be something that he's interested in. Would you recommend it?
I think it's difficult. I don't want to hate on the armed forces, but I think there's less and less funding going on.
Yeah.
There are less and less aircraft, and so this is just not the same requirement as when I was there. And I think there's less opportunity because there used to be a lot of overseas trips that people could do. So I would probably say no. But it really depends on the person, each individual. Some of them, armed forces are great for them.
I think part of the attraction is that they can, work, earn money and be studying and not have to come out of that period with this massive student loan, and they've perhaps felt like they're contributing to society and they're learning a skill that isn't necessarily easily learned.
And if you can do that, there are a few each year that do it. I was in the intake that there were guys who did do that.
Yeah.
I didn't. I applied for that and didn't get that.
Right.
So I went on as a pilot direct, whereas the other ones went in as a university, and they did 3 years study at Christchurch because it was at Wigram at the time. And then they did their pilot training afterwards, which would have been better for me because I was probably just too immature. Really, I was only 17.
Yeah.
So
that was the starting job. We're gonna have to work hard to make sure that this 20 minutes isn't just the first 5 years. So starting job. Let's say, what were you doing, Ruben? 10 years ago.
10 years ago. What's that?
2015.
Wow, I was out of Timely at that time.
You were out of Timely?
Yeah, I was out of Timely in 2014.
Shout out to Timely.
Yeah. Shout out to Ryan. Yeah. Learned a lot. Man, I learned a lot about how to be a good boss from Ryan. Yeah. I want to shout out to him. He was a really good boss. He had really good values. That's the key, in my opinion, to being a good leader. So I finished that, and I think I was doing some SaaS consulting. Right. So I worked in a few different software companies for short periods of time. Yeah. Sort of a few months, a year, that sort of stuff.
Just Dunedin, or did you extend yourself out?
No, it was right across. I did 1,000 Mines, which was coming out of Dunedin with Paul Hansen. Yes. That was amazing, an interesting thing to do. I worked at another one, I can't remember what they're called now. They're an event app up in, the first one was an event app in Wellington. Okay. And that was a tricky, tough time. They were kind of, lots of problems there. So I was only there.
Event apps there was a lot in that moment in time too, wasn't there?
And I was only there for 3 months because, reasons. And then I ended up working for the largest property management software company in Australasia called Rockend. So I was in Sydney. And Rockend, and I was commuting once a month to Sydney and just working out of Dunedin. So that was interesting.
Did we have flights to Sydney?
No, it was horrible. It was like you go and sit in Auckland, and it was like some days would be 13 hours the trip. It was tough. Yeah. But I'd go there and be there for like 2 or 3 days, and that'd be it. Yeah. But then I was only there 3 months, and then they were bought out, so I was made redundant by another company. But in the meantime, I'd already made a few connections, and so I went and worked with a guy. Shout out Hamish Turner, who's the largest rent roll, or he was. He's now sold that business. He sold rent rolls. Now, rent roll is I didn't know anything about it either. What is a rent roll? Rent roll is the list of properties on a property management portfolio. And the rent roll is where all the value in a business is, in a property management business or a real estate agency. If you go across the road to Harcourt's, their business is all the value of the business is in the property management arm, not in any of the other things. Wow. They can have 40 salespeople and 6 property managers, and 90% of the value will be in the property management, the rent roll. Yeah. Okay. So I didn't know this.
Fascinating. So that might be a nice segue into what are you doing now, Ruben?
Well, so I worked with this guy for a while, and I realised there was an opportunity that I should take on to do property management company. So I started Dunedin Property Management. I was doing, strangely enough, it's called Dunedin Property Management because I was doing an SEO audit for a company and I realised no one owns these domain names. What? These have got real value. So I bought a whole heap of domain names. I wasn't really planning to do the business at that point, but I thought there's too much value here. I would buy them all. I was thinking I'll put up a website, build some traffic and then flip it. That's what my initial thought was.
Perfect.
But
yeah,
so I put up a website and then it just started getting traffic and then I thought, well, actually I could probably do something here and started doing more.
We own Backsack and Crack for that very reason. I haven't yet opened a beauty therapist for Backsack and Crack waxing, but...
does that have good search, does it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought that.
Absolutely.
I've never searched Backsack and Crack.
Why not?
But the combination of Dunedin Property and Management takes a massive amount of the search.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So that was kind of where it started. And then also a part of it is, I guess, and has become more and more of a part of it, is that, you know, in New Zealand, Māori have been massively discriminated against in the housing sector.
Sure have.
Both in the buying and in the renting. And it's an area that I was like, well, we can do something better. So try and bring more of my personal values to the fore. It's interesting because harking back to lessons learned. So in the past, I've built businesses driven by what the market wanted. Because I've always got a feel for the market. So I'm thinking, what's this, what's that? In this case, I went, no, I want to build something that is around me and the values I have. And so we have do a whole heap of practices in our business and to try and, I guess, promote Te Ao Māori, to, you know, encompass more of those values, personal values I have, and tikanga Māori and things like that. And by no means are we perfect at it. It's hard. It's hard.
I know.
A very smart lady, Tans, you may know her, said to me the other day, she said, because we managed the kaumātua flats at Aotearoa Marae, and she said to me, our communities are messy. And I'd never really put it like that. I was like, yes, they are. And it's just if I want to work in this space, I have to be able to navigate that. And
well, we're all messy, aren't we?
Yeah, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
But the impact of colonisation can't be understated.
Agree.
And some of our whānau have had it, you know,
for generations.
Had to survive in a way, you know. And so I try and, you know, be more understanding and that sort of stuff. And I can't tell you the stories of the things because property management, you see everything. Drugs, abuse, violence, everything. You see it all. In only 5 years, I've seen a lot. Yeah. And it's just part of the game.
It is.
And if I want to work within our community and try and make things better, I'm going to have to deal with all that stuff as well. That's just part of it. And to do that, we have to be safe in my organisation. So my team have to feel safe to work and know that I've got their back and that you know
there's safety plans in place
and
awareness of
and it's also
risks.
just about values because you know he hata me nui o te ao he tangata that's I take that to heart for us is that it's about people first and it starts with my team and our safety both physically and emotionally because it's a draining job so making us do that and then also being considerate and caring for our tenants and then also being caring and considerate for our owners because we have
such a balance.
It is, and we are in the middle there all the time and often both parties are slightly wrong and we're having to pull them in and then both are slightly unhappy.
So you're a mediator, you're a psychologist, you're a doctor, you're a caring social worker, you are a business owner, you know, all of these things.
So you know I did psych at uni.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I did a Masters of Psych.
Did you?
Yeah.
Right. Well, that will be coming in very handy.
So I'll tell you, I've done lots of things.
Yeah, I know. So how do you... What's Ruben's thing? How do you take care of your own sort of mental health
really good
and
question.
wellness? Yeah.
It's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough. I used to surf a lot.
Yeah, I know.
A lot. And in the last year, though, I've become addicted to golf.
Oh.
So I play golf.
They're not transferable skills, I have to say, surfing versus golf.
No, they're not. But I've been playing a lot of golf.
Have you?
Pretty much at balls every day.
Wow.
Yeah. We lived across the road, basically, from Island Park in Wardenville, you know.
Nice.
So I can just go after dinner and hit a few balls.
Are you getting better?
I'm pretty good.
Are you? We had Duncan Crowdis on here the other day.
Yeah.
Pro golfer.
Yeah.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I learned to play golf when I was really young. Okay,
yeah.
So I learned down at Port Chalmers. There was an old fellow who taught a lot of good young kids, including guys like Mahal Pearce, who won the New Zealand Open. But a lot of good golfers came out of Sawyers Bay, and I was just a kid down there learning to swing a club. And I never thought much of golf because I always thought I was going to be an All Black. And as you do, But and then when I had young kids, I didn't play much golf because young kids. But now my kids are all old enough, and so and my wife's happy for me to not be around. Yeah,
for a few moments,
for a bit.
Sure.
So I hit lots of golf balls, and I mean I'm getting better. I'm getting better. It's a hard game.
Well, Paul might add you to his list of golf buddies with me. And get wheeled out and do that every so often.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah.
So that's one way you do it. And then you've touched a little bit about the whānau. You've got some kids that no doubt keep you challenged.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, 15, 17, 23. My oldest is just finishing her law degree.
Yeah.
One at OB's, and the other one, actually, he's moved to Logan Park. He was at OB's for a couple of years, but now he's moved down there.
Yeah.
And they're all flourishing, really. Yeah. It's good.
Beautiful.
Good. Yeah, life's good in Dunedin. We're very lucky.
And what is it about Dunedin, do you think, that makes it something that you say we're lucky?
I mean, there's so many things. At the start, I would have just said because it's the best surf spot in the country.
Yeah.
And
is it?
I think arguably it is.
Right.
Yeah. If you talk to surfers know it's really good. They might say it's cold, but they know Dunedin has the best surf. Yeah. And most consistent, and I'm including the Catlins when I say Dunedin. Yeah. Because if within an hour of Dunedin is, people travel across the world to surf the Catlins. Right. It is really world class. So really good surf.
We don't tend to leverage off that for our tourism, do we?
Well, I pitched it to the
Enterprise Dunedin.
Yeah.
Did you?
Back in they did stuff about it. So because I created a hashtag at the time, hashtag Surf Dunedin, still out there.
Right.
And
maybe it's just because I'm not the target audience.
And then they brought in a surf vlogger from Sydney. Right. And he did some stuff. It was, remember Josh Jenkins and those crew? Yes. Because Josh's a surfer, he's a good dude.
And Derek and
yeah, that's right.
Jay.
They're all doing I see them all around. They're still all out there doing the,
Beautiful.
And so, Dunedin definitely can do more.
Yeah.
But do we want more surfers in the water? Not me.
True.
Yeah.
Gets a bit crowded, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't want it to be like Raglan now or something. But so the surf is awesome. How easy it is, it is really easy. The education's amazing. We're at great facilities, good hospital. Wana, my wife, she always thinks how close are we to a hospital now. Yeah. Because she knows so much about. That's why it's hard for us to go live in Queenstown because Lakes Hospital hasn't got the full, thing.
Hey, let's talk about that. Moana. Who is Moana?
Moana?
Let's do the short version of this incredible wahine here in Ōtepoti.
Yeah. Professor, Dr. Director Moana Theodore.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife, we've been together 29 years. Been together a long time.
But I thought you were only 35.
Yeah, that's right. She looks 35. I look the age I am, 52.
Right.
So we met in first year at Auckland. We were just friends. And then a couple of years later we got together. And she's amazing. she's just progressed through the academic ranks and being a scientist, being really good at that stuff.
And now the leader of something that's
leader of the Dunedin study.
Incredible.
The thing about whānau is that her whakapapa defines her really more than most. She comes from such a strong, I'll say a matriarchal line in some regards, but just a strong ngapu whakapapa, and she has leadership in her genes, and so she just believes more than most,
You can feel it when moana is in a room or enters a room. I call it the wā, I'm not sure. There's a whole lot of different words for it, isn't there?
Yeah.
That she holds. Her essence is just so incredible and so powerful.
Oh, that's kind of you to say.
To moana. I may have a girl crush.
Look, she's amazing. And her whānau's amazing.
Yeah.
So, and, I've probably told you her cousin's the Governor General.
No.
Her cousin, but also really close cousin. So we've stayed at Government House a couple of times.
Oh, wow.
It's like just the whole, her life stuff is wild.
Heated floors?
What's that?
Heated floors?
No, I can't remember that.
These are the things that matter, Ruben.
It's just a huge building, It was amazing to go there.
And did it feel comfortable when you were there, or was it a bit jarring? Like, it looks so colonial.
Well, the first time you go,
yes,
no, it definitely did. It was like, wow, this is crazy.
Right.
It's very.
I'm here.
Yeah, it was like that, and but because I've known her forever, but now Her Excellency, His Excellency, all that sort of stuff. But it's like it was hard to deal with at the start. Not just that, but all the other things that come with it.
Yeah, the fineries.
Yeah, it's just, I like what Paul was saying. I was the handbag guy for a lot of these events, and
nobody would ever call you or Paul handbags.
But it was kind of like you're meeting these incredible people.
Yeah.
But I went to this event. I don't know if you've ever read the book Treaty of Waitangi from Claudia Orange. So it was a really big impact on me back in the 90s. It was really the first book that set out the history of Te Tiriti, and I used it with my studies and everything. Anyway, that was in the 90s, and I don't know why, but in my mind I thought Claudia Orange was probably some old person who long passed, because I treated this book with such reverence.
You met her, didn't you?
And then I went to this table and I sat down, and then I had Dame Anne Salmon on my right, and she's another legend. And CEOs and people, I don't know how I was even at this table, because mine was the speaker, so they put me at the front. I was like, what's going on? Claudia Orange, and it was just, overwhelming.
Wow.
Seeing
And
all these
you
kind
met
of heroes.
a hero, obviously.
Yeah, I did a little. I mean, I didn't know who she was at but I did it when I saw her. I was like, what? Wow. Yeah. But have had that happen a lot with Moana. It's like all these, especially when I was studying, I was reading all these academic papers because there's only a few Māori academics back in the time. Ngā Tamatoa, those people, they were kind of leaders for all of us after them, and some of them were publishing and doing stuff, and so we were following their lead. But I'd never met most of them. And then years later I start running into them. Margaret Mutu, people that I knew their names but I never met them. Well, now Moana's interacting with them. Well, now they're pretty old, but Moana is part of that crew now. So I was having to deal with meeting famous people.
Yeah.
It's just I'm an average dude.
I'm not just average.
I'm just an average dude. I just live an average life, and then I'm sitting with dames and sirs and stuff, and it's like
you belong there, Ruben.
Well, all I want to do is make sure I, don't fuck it up.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, don't fuck it up.
The pressure of behaving and not fucking things up.
Say something dumb and make my wife look bad. No, that's the only thing I think about in those situations. Make sure I'm at least.
Well, I know from knowing you as long as I have that there's very little risk of that. You're an incredible thinking man that
thank you.
a lot of people have respect for in our world. So
that's very kind of you to say.
Look, we have run out of time. We've talked very little about, favourite places in Dunedin and all that fluffy stuff, but that's why I can't wait to have you back again. We need to have some chats about that. Although, before we wrap up, we've got 2 minutes. I think we should do level 1, 2 and 3.
Okay.
And see how you are on your toes, because you haven't been tested like this for a while, have you? So this is an incredible conversation starting game called Below the Surface. I've talked about it a few times on here. It's been created by Carly Shorter and Mark Glenn in New Zealand.
We need conversation starters.
We don't need them at all. But it's ways to find out things that you wouldn't naturally stumble upon.
Okay.
How has someone made a positive difference to you recently, Ruben?
Recently. Wow.
It's supposed to be the easiest level.
Well, recently, I mean, people say stuff to me, and if they connect, I remember them forever.
Yeah.
People, these little statements, they won't even know they're important.
Yeah.
And so when she said to me, our communities are messy, it made me go, hold on, Ruben. I was starting to think, I was thinking incorrectly, because I was starting to be judgy and go, they should be this, they should be that.
Yeah.
No. This,
Beautiful.
This is the result of all of this stuff. So
wow, shout out to Tans. That's the second mention.
She's had a couple of times.
And incredible woman. I have done level 1 Te Ao with Tans 4 times.
Oh, cool.
I need to do it again. Look, to be honest, it was more to spend time with her and to be connected with her in that way, as well as start and continue my Reo journey. So shout out to that lady. Level 2.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
When has fear held you back in the past?
Oh, all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. It's one of those battles every day. Because if you're trying to do something different that hasn't been done, it's always going to be scary.
We have to be courageous and feel it
and
do it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, what is anxiety but fear,
Yeah.
It is that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I will say, I never used to have anxiety, ever.
Yeah.
I was never scared. I just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, there is an element of you care, so therefore you will get that feeling.
But as soon as I had kids and a wife, then suddenly I felt like I had stuff to lose.
Yeah.
The money, I don't care so much, but those people, I care so much.
Level 3, what do you regard as the best thing you have ever done?
Oh, look, it's pretty easy, isn't it? It's pretty easy. It's all the same for all of us. It's always children, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say not kids.
Not kids.
What else? What is the other best thing that you've ever done?
So, not kids and not marrying my wife.
Not marrying Moana.
Oh, sheesh. I don't know. I've done so many things, and at the time they seem amazing, and then you just move on.
Yeah. What's something that springs to mind though? Something that you're like, that was one of the best things.
Sheesh. Recently I played this really cool golf course up in Norway. Yeah. That was pretty awesome.
Wow. Yeah. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
I surfed pipeline in Hawaii many years ago now. That was pretty cool. Yeah. Like when you say bucket lists. Yeah. Because my wife's best friend, shout out Tina, is dying of cancer. It's really horrible. She's 49, 50 this weekend. So we're in Auckland for her 50th. And
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's intense. But we were talking about bucket lists because of her, what she, and I was going, okay, what is on my bucket list of what I want to do? And I was like, shit, I've done so many things. I don't have anything that really goes, I really want to do that. Yeah. Maybe play the World Series of poker, That'll probably be the only thing. But even that, I don't care if I need to do it.
Are you sure it's not to become a Dunedin City Councillor?
I'm sorry.
Are you sure?
I would be terrible at that.
It's not on that list?
I would be terrible.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I haven't got time, patience for anyone, If I like people, I really like them. If I don't, I just can't be bothered pretending. And that sounds bad because, politics and all this business requires you to pretend.
Yeah, some of us aren't very good at pretending, so
that's
watch
why I
this
have
space.
my own business.
Yeah.
I can't be employed because I can't play the game very well and I can't be bothered.
Ruben, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you here on this very short podcast where we learnt a itty bitty tiny amount about you. I look forward to you coming back. Thank you so much for joining us.
Kia ora. Lovely to be here.
Yes.